Lucy, your light needs to go green.
Way, woman who be thinking we soft, we don't play. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hold up. Hey, woman who be thinking we soft, we don't play. We gon' rock it till the wheels fall off.
Hi, and welcome back to episode 22. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 of the Lights Out, Let's Talk. Brooke, the podcast is officially about to outage us now.
It is.
Anyway, episode 22. We're cooking. And this week we were racing in Bahrain. I keep going to say Qatar, and I've got no idea why I keep going to say Qatar. But I keep going to say Qatar, and then I'm like, it's not Qatar, it's Bahrain. Yes, we were racing in the very warm and very hot and probably very dry Bahrain. I don't know what the humidity was, but yes. We got some sleigh fits on media day though, so it's worth it.
Worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Except for Charles, who was overheating immediately.
And Matching George.
Twinsies.
And Matching George. Twins! We also ended up with some weird ass content of all the drivers touching Kimmy's weird coat.
Do you know that they only have one of those coats? They have to share.
That's
They share. George and Kimmy share that coat. This is what I've recently discovered. There's only one of those coats in existence. So they have to take it
little
into
brother. Love them.
how cute.
Love them for that. But yes, this was finally an action-packed weekend. After our News Fest in Japan, we got some action on track. And thankfully, none of it was really bad action, but it was still action. Woo! So we started off the weekend with a bang with Media Day, which once again resulted in some things being said that maybe shouldn't have been said. But that's okay. We leave it at that. That's all we're gonna say. If y'all are either Team Lando or you're not. That's all I can say. But that's okay. So we'll just jump ahead to our Friday where we had FP1 and FP2. So honestly, not a lot happened. At this point, nothing really happened. We had cars going off. We had tires melting on the spot. We had engines overheating. We had, everyone just struggling with the heat. I think I could be so incorrect in this, but I think whenever I was watching it, it said the track temperature was 42 degrees Celsius.
I think it reached 50 in that first free practice session.
Alexa, what's 50 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? Sorry, guys, just got to translate for Brooke.
Celsius is 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
Just had to translate.
Like, I know, 50 degrees Celsius is bad, but that's insane.
No, that's not the air temperature. That's the track.
Just the track.
Yeah, which is still not great for the tires, but...
No, whenever I was checking up, I think it was 35 or 34 degrees air temperature, which is still really, really freaking hot.
That's warm.
That's very warm. So not enjoyable, I would imagine. Which we then got an insight of with our cool down room, where those drivers really took cool down to a whole new level. But this is okay. Right, so in FP1, realistically, we only had two things, which was Yuki missing his pit box. And this time, we can't use the Carlos Sainz excuse of, no, it was reversed. No, I think Mans was actually on his way to RB. He misses them. He misses them. It's all their comments. Yuki's walking past and going like, hi. He misses them. And then probably the one that Beth clearly found the funniest, because there's a giant wall next to it, was Luke impeding Alex. Now, if you're new to Formula One and you're looking at us going, who the hell's Luke?
Okay.
Who's that? We had I think it was 6 different reserve drivers took to the grid for FP1. I'm not going to name them because I don't know. I think I took down a note somewhere saying who they were, but
I only remember 3 of them. One of which is Dino.
Dino.
I'll make that clear.
Well done, Brooke. You remember Dino.
I remembered him.
Brooke often forgets about Dino.
Sorry.
We don't talk about Dino. With Dino, we had Luke. You know what? I'm just gonna get it up on the F1 app because I'll drive myself.
Yeah.
We had
Felipe.
Let's see how many Beth can get. We'll see. I'll get it up.
No, because I'm going to offend someone trying to pronounce people's names. Is it Rio in?
See, this is only giving me the last 3. So BRO,
Browning,
BEG,
Bogdanovich,
DRU,
Drugovic,
HIR,
Oh, there's that Rio? No.
Is it like Hirawasa?
What? Yeah.
VES,
Vesti.
and IWA.
Oh no, because I can never pronounce his name, so I'm not
Oh.
going to attempt it. No, I'm
what?
not.
That's Iwasa.
There you are.
Which, by the way, just resulted in my mum being heavily confused, being like, wait, I don't know these initials. She was like, I was just starting to learn the initials and now there's more. And I was like, no, Mum, these are reserve drivers. I was like, they have to go in. I think it's 2 sessions, or unless it's changed this year.
4 this year.
4 sessions this year.
Per
So
car.
they have to go in for at least 4 sessions throughout the year. It's always during the free practices. And my mum was heavily confused. She was like, who? She was like, what happened to the, like, when, I kid you not, this sentence left her mouth. During the whole Luke and Alex incident, she said, what happened to the one with the hair?
The one with the hair. Valid question.
You mean
What happened?
Carlos?
Well, Carlos.
He's got great hair.
He's been dissolved to the one with the hair. That's
As
it.
opposed to the one without the hair.
Alpine?
Alpine, Alpine.
I-
Hey, maybe she had a point. But yes, these are reserve drivers that were in. They are not new F1 drivers just yet. But yes, we did have an incident. An incident. I knew Beth was going to say it. With Luke and Alex impeding each other, which did result in a fine being given to the team, I believe. To which Alex's response was, I'm not paying that.
King behavior, though. King behavior.
As he should. It was Alex and George. Can you take anything those pair say seriously? No. And then that went on to say that it was more expensive to take a shit.
Yeah. As Carlos is stood behind them.
Yeah. Oh, I love those two. I love that. I love them as a pair. 2019 rookies are unmatched. I'm sorry. I love the 2019 rookies. Yeah, I think it was a €7,500 fine was given to the team. It wasn't given to any driver individually because the drivers weren't told. The drivers were not informed of this situation happening until it happened. So, a round of applause to Williams.
Big up Luke for missing Alex, though. That was kind of insane when he came around that corner.
Do you know what it was? I said to my dad about it when my dad let out an audible gasp. And he was like, that was some reaction times. And I was like, that man has nothing on Isaac Hadjar.
Isaac Hadjar in the Monaco tunnel.
So I had to get up the video of Isaac Hadjar in the Monaco tunnel to show my dad. And he was just like, geez, bet a bit of poo came out with that one. I was like, yes, probably. Anyway, live, laugh, love Isaac Hadjar. Sorry, just had to throw his name in there. And then we moved on to FP2, where we actually did get some drama.
A kind of big drama.
See, I didn't watch it. I just saw a clip after.
Oh, yes, I was taking the FP2 notes because Beth was like, I'm out. And I was like, Beth!
Just see a clip. Oh, it was just dying.
Basically, Fernando Alonso, man is in the trenches. Driving along, minding his own business, whole ass steering wheel comes off in his hands. He was lucky that the corner that he was at had a long runoff because he was off the track. So he managed to pop it back in and he went and then pulled into the pits. And it turns out it was his whole steering column that wasn't attached. Because I saw a lot of people on social media being like, well, it is the driver's job to put the steering wheel in, so that's his fault. Wrong. The whole steering column was not attached. So this was just
crazy.
An issue. It just happened. He managed to get back into the pits safely. Everything was okay. I think my favorite thing was watching his onboard of him taking the wheel off and showing his engineers, and all of their heads were like poked around his car. And he's like, look, it just comes off. Really quite funny. I'm choosing to play it off. Nothing actually happened. Something could have happened, but nothing did. So Fernando was fine. He was pretty sure he was back up for FP3 the next day. So everything is okay. It was just an inchy bit. I said it before Beth could. And then everyone was just locking up. And I mean everyone.
Literally everyone.
Every corner, every turn, always there was a lock-up happening somewhere. Felt for the cameraman this week. Trying to keep up with everything going on. And then we ended FP2 with George and Max racing each other, which Oscar was very thrilled about. Oscar was having a great time. Oscar was living in La La Land this week, and he was having a great time with everything.
Fact.
So
Also
I
true.
don't know what was going on within his head. There we go. I'll rephrase it. We then went on to FP3, which Beth's note is just turn 11 hates everyone.
Turn 11 was the op for literally everyone.
Yeah, actually it was. Especially her Max. I wanna give a moment to Max. Because man's had a weekend.
Bro couldn't catch a break.
Bro, like, in the words of Max, this is terrible. Like,
It describes his weekend as a whole.
Everything that could have gone wrong for Max went wrong. But bless his heart, you know, still managed to do very well in the race for all the issues that happened. So, and then we had a virtual safety car. Safety car was not yet to make an appearance, but she will. She will
come out.
At this point, she had not. It was just virtual. She was just imaginary there. Because Nico just anti-stall. It's off.
Beep.
Thank you, Beth.
I got you.
Thank you. Which brought out VSC for
just a little while.
Just a little while. Honestly, nothing interesting. He stopped off track as well, so
yeah.
I was actually surprised they even brought out the VSC because it was only out for like 3 or 4 laps. But hey, here we are. And once again, guys, we're back with Liam Lawson causing beef.
Why does dude hate everyone? Bro said, well, I mean, he did say he was not here to make friends.
Yeah, no, Liam was just out here. He's picked his new op, and that op is George Russell. Liam just I think Liam just actually wakes up in the morning and picks a target and is like, yep, that'll do.
He just like to spin the wheel.
That would
actually be really funny. Who's our new op this week? Spins the wheel.
Brooke is frozen on my screen.
You're frozen on our screen.
You're frozen.
Anyways,
Anyways.
What were we talking about?
Beth's op is her Wi-Fi. Liam's op this week was George Russell. We also had a baby little Qatar 2.0 with Charles Leclerc's wing mirror just saying bye.
It just went.
It just vanished. It decided, no thank you. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this Ferrari. I don't agree with your strategies. Goodbye.
So fair.
And off it went. Wasn't red flagged or anything because Beth actually informed me that it went behind a barrier.
Behind a barrier.
But they didn't have to do
So
anything.
they made a joke about a fan would have a really nice souvenir after the race. We'll have to get
I
down
did.
to that first.
I did.
I'd race. I'd run. Actually, no, I don't want a Ferrari wing mirror. They're the ops.
Probably cursed.
Probably, yeah, I'll bring it home and literally everything's gonna go wrong.
And then we had Pierre giving probably the most true statement of the entire weekend of just, I can't believe how fast these McLarens are.
Fair.
No further
Same.
comment, Your Honor.
Because it was that comment and then followed by Oscar's little gorgeous, perfect, incredible lap. Oh my God, I saw him do it and I was like, no way, this is real life. Real life Oscar Piastri has done this.
No way, this is real life.
Because like,
What a statement.
it was like 1.3 seconds of Pierre, who was in P2 at that time. And then the Mercedes was still a second slower than him. Lando was still like half a second slower than him. I was like,
Gosh.
no, bro cooked. Bro had the ideal lap.
There's literally just, he was on one all weekend. There's no other way to describe it.
It was
This was
good.
his weekend.
It was good.
He said, I'm a cook, stand back and watch.
He was like, I
And
should have to do it.
I'm honestly here for that. That's all I could have ever wanted and more.
Fact.
So happy for him.
And then we make our way on to qualifying, which I was very stressed for, and rightfully so. Because my F1 fantasy team after qualifying just went,
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't looked at mine all weekend.
Exploded.
it died a painful death. And I was like, okay, RIP my, like I dropped, my university has an F1 fantasy league and I dropped from second to fifth.
Not acceptable.
No. So now men are beating me, which is really disappointing.
Not okay.
Gasp.
It's actually really quite tragic. I can't lie. The men are winning.
We cannot let them win, Lucy.
Can't let them win. I must beat the men. I don't know how I'm gonna make it back, but we will make it back.
I believe.
I've had to delete many people from my fantasy team over the last couple of weeks. And do you know what's really annoying? Really annoying? I swapped this week. I don't know if I can say this because people might be mad, but this week I swapped Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz.
Oh.
So once
Pookie.
again, I just watched it go. Yeah, that was a bad choice on my behalf. Alex has been back put into his usual space. We will see an edit during free practice this week because it's a triple header, guys. So excited. Okay, so Q1 we had once again the Red Bulls, guys.
I was stressed for them.
Yeah, as was I. Brooke, any comment?
I kind of figured Max would make it out because he tends to like pull out these good laps when he needs it the most. I was scared for Yuki. Very scared for Yuki.
I was scared for them all, TBH. Like, I was just like, the whole time, it was whenever we were down to like the last minute and it still said no time. I was like, guys.
That last
I think
it's taken them out.
I think people would be like shocked seeing the Red Bulls taking the last row on the grid.
That would have been insane though. I'd have laughed.
That would have been season changing. No, it wouldn't have been because we're only four races in.
Yeah. And then we also had Liam. This was not confirmed until after Q1, but Liam had a DRS issue. I don't actually know what that issue was because I wasn't paying attention. So
I think he couldn't open it.
He couldn't open it?
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
I'm in theme this weekend.
Bro,
is.
everything was it's Bahrain. We saw it in testing. We knew it was going to be cussed.
Yeah, that's actually a really valid point. Then we went on to Q2, blissfully unaware of what was to come. Alex Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, the FIA, sworn enemies.
Mark your days, FIA.
Pretty much, Nico Hulkenberg had track limits for the time that put him into Q2. So his lap time got deleted. But it didn't get deleted until 30 minutes later. Meaning
Insane.
Alex Albon went out in Q1 when he actually should have made it through to Q2. What are our thoughts?
Not good ones.
Do better, bro. Do better. That's all I have to say.
That's all we have to say. Do better. Okay.
Shocked.
But anyway, Q2 went underway and we ended up with Esty Bestie in the wall. He was fine. Honestly, the aftermath of the crash looked a lot worse than what it actually was.
Yeah.
It was like waiting for it where I was like, oh my God, like that looks like a really bad crash. And he wasn't out of the car. And I was like, this looks really bad. But like he'd come on the radio and said he was okay. And then they showed the replay and it was just the angle in which he hit the wall made it look worse than it was. I'm sure it still wasn't great because as I've said, there's no such thing as a good crash. But RIP to the mechanics, I guess.
Haas really struggled this weekend.
They did.
I mean, they had a comeback, but Saturday was not their day.
So that brought out the red flags for a little bit. It actually wasn't as long as I thought. I thought the red flags were going to be out for a lot longer than they were.
Yeah.
But they got it cleared pretty quick. And probably because there was minimal damage to the barrier in itself. It's normally the barrier that takes the longest to repair. So
yeah.
We had George and Kimmy leaving the garage because the medical car, basically the way this had worked, right? The FIA then released race start will be this time.
Yeah.
So the two Merc boys left the garage, but the medical car was still in the pit lane or something like that.
No.
Yes.
No, the medical car, that's not what they got a penalty for.
But the medical car was still in the pit lane at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they went out before the time was given. That's why they got the penalty.
They went out at the projected start time and not the actual start
They had
time.
this is when it should.
Yeah, that's what
they didn't have it confirmed.
But that's what I was saying. I'm just saying that it had come up.
No, it hadn't come
You
up.
explain it then, Beth.
Basically, the teams get sent like an earlier predicted. We don't get told this time. They get sent. We think this is when the session's going to resume. Before they tell us, and the Mercedes had gone out of the garage, but that's still like not a. It will restart at this time. It's just that this is when we think it will start, but they can't go out until they get it is starting at exactly this time.
Didn't Mercedes not have like someone who usually is in control of like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they weren't there that week. They were I think they were like their kid's wedding or something like that, they said.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. Which we then got Nico coming on the radio saying, I don't know, Mark is dodgy.
But then he followed them out. Which made it even more funny because he was like, they're dodgy. Why are they out? As he's like driving out of the pit.
Yeah.
To join them in the queue.
Well, it happened. And we also had Max really having issues once again. A struggle. Now, we have no notes on Q3 because Beth was taking the notes for Q3. And the only note in which we have was too busy trying not to cry.
To be fair, I feel like that sums up the whole session. The only thing that actually realistically happened in Q3 was those final laps. But it wasn't like drama. It was just who can get the quickest.
Yeah.
Which...
Yikes.
God, I crashed out so hard.
Bathroom time, Beth.
What?
Bathroom time.
No. I'm not crashing out again. I was up till 3 a.m. watching Lando Norris X. This is me trying edits on Saturday. Bro, But I was crashing out. I was just not having a good day, and then that made my day worse. I was just
To be
crashing.
fair, the videos I received from you were very entertaining. Because I was actually so zen. I was sitting here, I was like, he's going to make it up. I was like, we watched him come from, what, P14 or something to P4 last year. I was like, he can make it from P6 to a podium position. He's got this. I was like, he has to overtake Kimi, which I fully believe he'll be able to do. He has to overtake Pierre, which I fully believe he'll be able to do. And I was like, so his next challenge is Charles or George. And I was like, he can make a podium position. It's a long race. And then I'm getting videos through from Beth being like,
But it was like the world that ended. The world that ended on Saturday night.
oh, I just wanted you to
I
know.
kid you not, it was 3 a.m. and then that's what I was doing. I was in my bed. I was like spiraling.
I've somehow ended up on F1 driver Hamilton edits.
Oh my God, they're the best thing in the whole
But
world.
like, obviously there's the most iconic one, which we all know is like the Lewis Hamilton, ex-Hamilton edit, where like the changes to Ferrari. But I've somehow ended up on like 2024 end of race season, Max versus George with no one else is in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened.
Hamilton X F1 edits literally.
Do you know what I blame?
I'd eat
I
them
blame
up.
the new Hunger Games book, because I ended up on Hamilton edits to the new Hunger Games book, and it was all like the Hamish Abernathy edits, and I sent them all to Beth to make her solve. Have you read this yet, Brooke?
No, I really need to.
You wanna
I
know
need
what's
to
up?
get it.
For your own mental health, don't. Okay, so I'm on F1 Hamilton, Beth's on F1 Roblox. What are you on, Brooke?
Bro, I'm on book talk. I'm knee deep in book talk.
How
I
have
just
you
started,
not had any spoilers for the new Hunger Games book then?
bro, mine is just recommendations of fantasy books. I started Fourth Wing and I finished it in 3 days.
My sister's been
Uh,
me to read that. I have it up there.
I highly recommend. I sobbed.
Bro,
The
it was
book has
something
not.
about just talking dragons puts me off it.
That's fair. But yeah, that is fair.
Anyway, should we get back to F1?
Yes.
But I do love a good book talk, as you can see by my at-home library. If you need recommendations, feel free to reach out. So
Will do.
our starting grid as of qualifying, because I don't know if... Oh, no, you
No.
already changed it. Beth already changed this. Because
Just
after
good.
qualifying, Kimi and George both received a one-place grid penalty for failing to follow the race director's instructions, which was entering the fast lane before the given time. Okay, so Ollie ended up in P20. 19th was Stroll, 18th Bortoletto, 17th Lawson, 16th Albon, 15th Ocon, 14th Alonso, 13th Hulkenberg, 12th Hadjar, 11th Doohan, 10th. Then we just changed the first names. 10th Yuki, 9th Lewis, 8th Carlos, 7th Max, 6th Lando, 5th Kimi, 4th Pierre, 3rd George, 2nd Charles, and 1st Oscar.
Oscar.
How do we feel about Lando and Max's grid positions?
Why are they always together?
Terrified.
No matter what, you cannot separate. Yeah, if one of them has a bad qualifying, the other one also does. They're like glued together. I also want to add, right? Do you know what? It's kind of funny. You know that George got his one-place grid penalty? Because this is what started the drama with Max. when he snitched on Max in when was it? Was it Vegas? Was it Vegas he snitched or Qatar he snitched?
One of those two.
One of them.
Whenever George snitched, and Max got that one-place grid penalty.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Made me giggle. I think it was. I want to say it was Qatar.
I cannot remember.
Bro invented the one place grid penalty for himself.
He thought, I'm gonna give it to Max, and then ended up getting it back himself.
Yeah. Well, that was our starting grid. So originally it was Oscar, George, Charles, Kimi, Pierre. But then we had to switch about because they each got their one-place grid penalty. So we then moved on to the race, which resulted in me curled up in a ball on my sofa going, let me show you something. Because I was stressed. I was just ready for a takeout turn one. But we didn't get a takeout turn one. We had an absolute cook from Lando getting up 3 places off the start line. So I hope all of his haters are crying in a corner somewhere. Honestly. Nicest way to put it, to be honest. I would wish worse on you. If you don't like what I'm saying, imagine what I'm thinking. Anyway. Yes, Lando absolutely cooking off the start line, which we all celebrated, and immediately it came crashing down after it comes up. Norris noted for being out of position on the start line. So, what this means, once again, in case anyone's a new F1 fan, they have this little box shaped like this, and their car goes into the little box, and their front axle is not allowed to go past this line. It's not allowed to go past it. Lando's did, which meant he was ahead of his grid box for starting. So whenever the lights went out, it's counted as having an advantage, even though it's all of 3 or 4 inches of an advantage. But hey, an advantage is an advantage. So start lights went off. Max noticed it, and Max was straight on the radio. Max was straight on the radio with Lando's passes for Max.
Max Verstappen snitching on Lando Norris. Fault found in kitchen.
What is new?
It's him like looking over, like you could see how like, how fast
he's on board.
Yeah. He's like, what's he doing wrong? What's he doing wrong? Which Lando actually said, I think it was in the post-race interview, where they asked, like, did he know he was past it? And he was like, it's not. Otherwise I wouldn't have been past it. So Lando then received a 5-second time penalty for that, which he served pretty quickly after that as well. Straight into the pits. Mechanics are not allowed to touch the car for 5 seconds, and then they do the pit stop, and then he goes on his way. That's how a 5-second time penalty works. So yeah, served it real quick, and he said, right lads, let's cook, let's get these positions back up. Speaking of being cooked, Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Emphasis
on red.
They really said
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Yeah, there you can't even see the red. Why could you see the red so clearly at the beginning? Is it because the clouds are gone now?
Probably.
Yeah.
No one else in the room.
Red Bull. We closed the blind. Red Bull. This was what their pit light looked like. When they come into the pits, there's a little light above that lets the drivers know, hey, it's safe to go back into the pit lane now. Off you go. Enjoy your race. So then, whenever they drop the car off the jack, the little light goes ding. Little light didn't go ding. Little light stayed red. So Max sort of sat there for a second and was like, but he did still go whenever the light was red because he checked his wing mirror and he saw it was clear. And he was like,
Have you seen the like aerial shot of Max in the pit lane when it happens?
no.
Right, so
I don't think so.
when it happens, right, and I kid you not, he sat there, he goes after he obviously didn't change.
Yeah, well, the light didn't change, and then whenever you think it's fine, he comes in for his second pit stop. And was it his front? I want to say his front right tire. His front right tire just didn't want to come off.
It was like a 6-second stop or something.
But yeah, it's 6.2.
6.2,
yeah. Did not want to come off. So that was very unfortunate for Max as well. But the light didn't just happen to Max; it happened to Yuki as well, where the light stayed red. So
sorry.
Speak.
Sorry.
The light is green, Beth. You may talk.
Sorry. It was the fact that they got the second, like the handheld light. Well, and even that didn't work.
Even that said no.
That one was flickering. That one was flickering yellow, right?
Yeah, it was just going amber. Blame it on George Russell. Bro caused so many issues this weekend. Love him, love my king. That was actually Red Bull's light. I was just having a party. They had one too many drinks. One too many drinks on the pit wall. Just having a bit of fun.
By the way, for those wondering, I have a color wheel on my phone and I just spin it and it changes the color of my light.
Very slay.
It's quite fun, actually. Sometimes I just lie in bed and I confuse my neighbors and I sit and do this.
They're probably like, what the heck is happening in that room over
Going on
there?
in her room. But yeah, so Red Bull, once again, not only struggling with the car, struggling with everything this week. We had Ollie getting up 6 places.
King.
We also had a bit of a confusion with Kimi Antonelli being put on softs on lap 28. Everyone was kind of like, is he going for a 3-stop or is he praying for a safety car? And a safety car is what he got. Because we had contact between Carlos and Yuki, causing
debris.
An array of debris to spray out on track, which honestly at first I was like, where has that even come off? I was like looking at the front wings. I was like, where has this come off from? The side. But yes, we had contact between Carlos and Yuki, which then brought out the safety car, and we watched everyone, and I mean everyone, dive for the pits. We love a free pit stop.
I was stressed though, because obviously McLaren being at the top of the pit lane.
Yeah.
Lando, I was like, Oscar's fine. Oscar's gonna get in and out. No one's gonna stop him.
Yeah.
I was like, how far is this gap from Lando?
Yeah.
When the whole pack comes in. Otherwise, we were gonna be cooked because obviously if they come in, he can't leave.
Yeah.
But he was fine. He got back out.
He was good. He was all good. It was okay.
It was good.
And then we got a nice little radio for George to say, "Hey, bestie, your dash is about to go out." And we were like, "Sweet." So basically, the way this means is George would then have to manually do his DRS because the little sensor in his car just said, "Not today. Don't feel like it. I don't feel like working today," which honestly, I relate. But yeah, so this is then what caused the very confusing time graphics for those watching on Sky Sports. I don't know how it happened on F1 TV because we can't have that in the UK. But
I know on the F1 TV app they were broken because I had like the little tracker on.
Okay.
Because I tried to think if that would fix it, but
see, I use the tracker on just the F1 app, not F1 TV. So the way it worked was like the little dot was going around. And George's little dot, like say this was the back straight, George's little dot was down here. And we were like, George is already in Saudi. George is away.
He's already sacked off the race.
George said, nah. So yeah, on our screen, whenever the safety car ended, George dropped from P2 to P20. And I had like a split-second moment of, has he gone into the pit lane after the safety car?
Yeah, I was confused.
So George was P2 and last at the same time, which was obviously because his dash was broke. And yeah, it also caused him to have a little DRS infringement because he pushed one button, and for some reason that button then opened his DRS, which it wasn't meant to do. George has confirmed he did not push the DRS button. He pushed a different button and it opened
I think it was the radio.
Well, something. He pushed a button and it opened his DRS. But it only opened it for like a split second. He then lifted off so that he would lose time. So there was actually no further action with that. He was called to the stewards. So he had to go and, I don't know, preach himself and be like, I promise I didn't do it. It's just the way it happens. But yes, there was no further action with that, which honestly, I actually think I would have been mad if there was.
Yeah.
So, and then we had our time penalties. Not to mention the amount of black and white flags thrown out this week was crazy. Like, the FIA really said, you get a black and white flag, and you get a black and white flag, and you get a black and white flag. But in terms of actual penalties, we've obviously already spoken about the ones that happened. But we had Liam Lawson with a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with Lance. We had Carlos with 10 seconds for forcing Kimi off, which he did not serve because he DNF'd. He retired the car because he had a hole in the side of it. So that's fair enough. But because of this, he will then take a 3-place grid penalty for next week's race / this week's race. We had a 10-second time penalty once again for Liam Lawson for a collision with Nico. We had Jack Doon with track limits, got a 5-second time penalty. And then just to finish it off, they said, you know what, we haven't handed out enough, so we'll just disqualify Nico.
For real.
Nico got disqualified for the same reason as Lewis in China. Listen, they all merge into one in my brain, okay? It's really hard to remember what race each thing happened. So, yeah. And then we had our iconic cool down room, which was
Oh my god, it was amazing.
It was just, you know what? I actually think that is the sassiest we have seen Mr. Piastri in a while.
Welcome back, Diva.
Welcome back, Diva, with Lando just making a joke and going, "Who was that?" And Oscar looking him dead in the eye and going, "What do you mean, who was that?" Because knew he was gone, and he was like, "What other papaya car is there, my friend?" To which Lando very quickly was just like, "All right."
Jesus, mate.
But at least they were like taking the mick out of things. Like they were joking. They were joking about. They had Lando with his lockup whenever he went to. Who was he trying to overtake when he locked up? Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to overtake Charles and he had like a really bad lockup. And he was like, "Oh no, who's that?
Who's that Muppet?
Who's that Muppet?" And then we had whenever Lando tried to get past George, which by the way was ballsy. That was a ballsy
Yeah.
move. And then Lando was like, "Oh wow, you definitely left enough space there, mate. Like you were taking me off." And George was like, "Nah, plenty of room."
I liked at the end when George was like, "Yeah, I was gonna go for a move on Oscar at the safety car," and I was like, "Why didn't you?"
Why not?
The sass was unmatched. Not to mention George Russell taking the word cool down room to a whole new level of excellence.
They both did.
Well, not on TV though.
Oh no, yeah, he did.
Lando didn't do it on TV. George did it on TV. George got that fireproof off as quick as he could. And that brought our lovely little weekend to a close. So, but we are not done yet. For next week, we have
Jeddah.
Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, which George is already there according to his timesheet, so that's okay. So, it is time for our little game that I'm doing terribly at.
No, you're so cooked.
Of our podium predictions. So, our podium predictions for next week. I have decided I'm taking this out of my hands from this point on.
Oh, okay. This is when it comes up and she's got like Lance Stroll P1.
I have a wheel.
Right, go on then.
Oh my gosh.
Right, come on then. Let's see how many points you can get this week.
Up first.
P3 or P1?
Third place is going to be Alex Albon.
Okay, Alex.
In second place, Kimi Antonelli.
Okay.
And
And in first place,
Lance Stroll.
Charles.
Okay.
that could be worse.
Can I redo it? Can I do it
No,
one more?
it's written. It's
One more
written.
time?
You can change one of them.
Okay, right. Well, it's giving me Charles is third. Alex is second. And Lance is first. So we'll keep it the way it was.
Okay, so you've got Alex, Kimi, Charles.
Yeah.
The wheel has it,
Go
not me.
on, go on, Brooke.
The wheel
Brooke,
is
do you want the
spoken.
wheel to decide for you too? Because this is fun.
You know what? Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Why not?
Right. For Brooke.
P3. Gimme.
Kimmy.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
P2.
2.
Do some good.
To be fair, wait, these
Okay.
This one's it's cooking.
And your race winner.
Maybe last stroll.
Esty!
Honestly, that could have been so much worse.
I've already written mine down. I'm not taking any hits on my freaking points, bro. I'm on the
Some gigs.
You have to.
No.
Shall we
Yes.
see what Beth would have gotten?
Okay, go and see
Yes.
who I would have gone.
She would have gotten P3. George Russell.
That's not what I'd written.
That's not bad.
P2. Isaac Hadjar. And P1. Also George Russell, so I'll spin it again.
No, I actually put George P1 though.
P1, Fernando.
No, I actually put George P1.
Okay, well, the wheel's going to pick from now on for me because I don't trust myself.
Well,
realistically, if I were to do it properly, I would say George Oscar Lando.
3-1.
Yeah.
I would have said from 3-1. Honestly, probably Charles, George, Oscar.
Oh.
She said, I don't associate with my papaya boy anymore.
I put George, Lando, Oscar, even though hashtag Jeddah hates Lando. So
it does hate Lando.
Do you know what? No, let's put.
But
Ollie Behrman.
Positive vibes.
Ollie slayed Jeddah last year.
He did.
That's my king.
Well, actually, maybe I'd put Oscar above Lando then. But in my mind, I just want Lando to keep P1 in the championship, and Oscar's now so close behind him.
Yeah. Isn't it like 3 points?
Yeah. Lando is currently on 77, Oscar is on 74, and Max is on 69.
And George is on 63.
Yeah, George is on 63, which is really cool.
Let's go.
And that is our predictions for next week. Please don't take the wheel seriously. This was just his last resort. And now we finish up with our lovely little meme of the week. And I think my meme's iconic. So
go on then.
Mine's a meme in itself. It's a photo that makes it a meme. And I wonder if any of us are matching with this. It's the George Russell photo of Lando.
Any of us are matching? Oh no, I don't have that one.
I don't have that one either.
I have Lando in the cool down room.
Bro looks so silly in the picture though. Like if you
he
zoom
does. Like, what is going on with his face?
Also, look how nicely his clothes are folded. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Can we just talk about the photo that I sent into our group chat? Was it this week or was it last week? I sent a photo. It was last week. I sent a photo into our group chat being like, why have McLaren posted this? Right?
I remember.
McLaren posted this lovely photo, okay, of Lando and Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
This is a gorgeous photo of Lando and Oscar until you zoom in on their faces. Because what's going on with Oscar? Hold on, let me screenshot this and zoom in properly. And then let me zoom in on Lando. Let's just assess what's going on with Oscar's face. And then you think it's fine. Lando will be better. Lando looks like a sim. Like Lando looks like he stepped out of The Sims 4 and he's about to go so at me.
Bro, he looks like that literally because they posted the video of them after the race. And why does he look like he's just out of it? This wasn't my picture. This wasn't my meme. But like, look at what are McLaren doing to them?
McLaren just take one photo and they look at it as a big picture and they're like, yeah, it's good enough until
fine.
They don't expect people to zoom in.
Anyway, Brooke, your meme of the week.
Mine, so we're coming down to the end of school. Me enjoying race week.
Zoom in on your screen. Because I came forward and it was like, hello.
It's me enjoying race week and then anxiety, school, exams, and tests living in the background.
I have 2 essays due in 2 weeks that I haven't started yet.
Yeah.
Priorities. It's race week. I've got other.
Yay.
And Beth.
Mine's really great, and I think that you all would definitely appreciate it. I might have to turn my brightness down actually. This is changing. You've got
always the cheapos.
It's just so.
Thank you.
It's just so versatile.
Okay. It is. We love the T-post. Okay, and that brings us to the end of episode 22. I was going to say it in French, and then I forgot what 22 was in French. Vetre.
I don't know French.
Alexa, what's 22 in French?
22 in French is 22.
I was close.
22.
22. We will see you guys next week where we discuss all things Jeddah. Cue that out.
True.
We don't play. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hold up. Hey.